Welcome guests. I would like to call upon Michael J. Clarke to talk to us and to give us a speech entitled "It Was a Cold and Icy Night." With a speech entitled "It Was a Cold and Icy Night," assuming that he has recovered, Michael J. Clarke.
It was a cold and icy night, November 2009, and I'd arranged to meet somebody, well yes, rather strange. I didn't know her in advance, I hadn't met her before. I actually knew her through her brother, Chris, who was a member of Leeds City Toastmasters, so I did know what I was letting myself in for that cold and icy night, when I arranged in the car park near the Yorkshire Outlet, or whatever it's called, where I'd arranged to meet Karen Venables to talk to us about maybe starting a Toastmaster club in Doncaster. I have to say I was concerned for a number of reasons, not just because it was Karen I was meeting, but also because this was going to be the third attempt at trying to start a club in Doncaster. Now, I know, coming from Barnsley originally, that Doncaster is a very strange place, even looking at Barnsley, it's a strange place. But I didn't think it was quite this strange. We had tried before with Margaret Abraham, who had helped me start Leeds City Toastmasters. And we'd had a great time, except we had made a fundamental mistake of actually booking the same hotel and the same night as Doncaster Junior Chamber was trying to launch again in Doncaster. And I'm a past president and life member of that organisation, who were in the next room trying to get started. Unfortunately, in some ways, they won and actually got formed. We had some wonderful meetings. We had a wonderful meeting, Margaret and I, one night where I was Toastmaster, she was general evaluator. I did the speech, she evaluated it. I did the table topics and she evaluated it. She had the whole meeting, and by 7:45 we were going home. Those were the good days. And we eventually got the hint that it wasn't going to work. And a few years later, earlier in 2009, I was contacted by a lady who wanted to start Toastmasters. And this is how lucky you were, because at the time Toastmasters was going to launch in the village hall in Hatfield Woodhouse. Wow. That's where we would have been if that would have succeeded. Unfortunately, I think the lady got a little bit of cold feet, because in the space of about a week, her husband got very ill, she got very ill, and her daughter got very ill, and we couldn't do it. Now, either she was very unlucky, and I do wish her well, I hope they all did recover, or it was a very good way of getting out of working with me, which for some strange reason, oh, this should be fun, shouldn't it? We had to get there. So at that time, and just a few weeks later, Chris said, "Well, Karen, you know Karen?" I said, "Yeah, I know Karen." Yeah, I know Karen. She'd be quite interested. So we met there this night in the pub, and she brought along with her Yvonne. Yes, just in case, you know, there was any funny business, security. There was no, I have to say, that was the one meeting with Yvonne when there was no physical violence or comments, and as I'm probably going to find out, that will continue. We then also that night, Sheila came to that first meeting. She'd been invited to a meeting for the launch down in Sheffield, but couldn't get there, and through various reasons on my rather small database of email addresses that I possess, she was on there, noticed that she came from Gould, so I invited her along. And we looked at this, what should we do with Toastmasters? And I suddenly realised we had got some people here who were very interested and very committed in many different ways, not just to do with Toastmasters, they just needed committed. They all were interested in getting involved, and we agreed to have a second meeting. And it was quite strange, because they were asking me questions about Toastmasters, and I'd been a Toastmaster at this stage for 8.5 years. And I'd done all this, I'd done area governor, division governor, see, I've done it as well, not just done all these things, club president, just about every role. I thought I knew it all. Until that first meeting I kept being asked these questions because people have been online and looked at what it says on the website. You should be doing this. This is the person who's never read a manual or looked at the website to do with Toastmasters, who honestly admits that he makes it all up as he goes along. And I'm being asked these questions. The second meeting, we were then joined by Liz, who came along. As you can see, there is a theme here of... Well, there's a theme of a particular gender that is coming. And I have to say, I know up front it has nothing to do with me. It was the idea of Toastmasters. I am not that foolish. But also, there was this sort of theme of... Yeah, strange would be the word. Unusual ladies. Interesting ladies. Yeah, I got first strike.
You wait.
Yes, can I say, Karen, it's your own damn fault. It was supposed to be a double act and she hadn't got time, so I get all the strikes in. But we moved on and we eventually decided that we would launch the club at the base down at Marshgate, which was an interesting experience because I used to know it as the training department of Carnell's when I used to work there about 10 years before. And this room where we meet, I remember being thrown out of there on my induction for asking too many questions. Now it was the other way around, I was being asked too many questions. By the time we launched, there was a number of us there, but this theme of gender seemed to be continuing. That there seemed to be me and ladies. We had DJ Michelle who came along, who was sent an email this week from the high seas where she is DJing on the Grand Princess somewhere out on the ocean. Michelle was a very interesting person. It was an interesting meeting when she was there because nobody else, if you let her, nobody else was going to get a chance to do any single role. Because she'd sign up for every single role for the meeting. No, you do just what? Let other people have a go. But she was very good. And for quite some time it continued like this until Derek appeared. Thank goodness. Another little thing. The reason I found out why Derek was so late arriving was because he'd had to set off finding out about Toastmasters in Doncaster. He had been a Toastmaster up in northern Canada 25 years before, and it had taken a long time for the message to get through. To get through from northern Canada does take some time. The flights and the trains and such like are not that good from there to get to Doncaster, so that's why he was about 4 months late, and has been ever since. But if you look at the club now when we actually chartered, we were more female than male. But those of us who are the male members, I would say as well, we love it, don't we, guys? Yeah. Just like being at home. No, we're never allowed to say what we can do. It's always, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing that, and all we do is say, yes, dear. Don't believe it. Yeah. What I would say is that Doncaster Speakers was the first club that I helped found where I knew what I was doing. I was involved with Leeds City Toastmasters, but at that time we hadn't a clue what we were doing, and that is the honest truth. And it was wonderful to be with a group of people who wanted it to succeed, who were determined to make it succeed. Everybody who's come into the club since has had that same enthusiasm, and that's what's really made it the club it is. And I say to people, yes, we're still fairly small, but we're growing. But go and look at Doncaster Speakers if you want to see how a Toastmasters club should run well and should run successfully. So you may not realise it because many of you have not been to other clubs, but you are very, very good. And you will get better and better. And I am proud of this club. And it just seems so strange that it all started one cold and icy night.